living, the things that you were doing in a past incarnation. Well, here, as we talk about the North Node and South Node in astrology, particularly when we talk about Aries and Libra, the axis of Aries and Libra in these lunar nodes, we'll dig a little bit more into what this means to have a North Node in Aries, which is our highest potential, or North Node, I should say, our highest potential, getting out of our comfort zones and doing something that we've never done before, you know. And then the South Node being this energy of something that we're leaving, it's our roots, it's our past, it's things that we've done in a past life, and how we come into this life with this North Node energy here. Okay. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about what that means to have your North Node placement in Aries and your South Node in Libra, and also your South Node in Aries and your North Node in Libra in your birth chart. Okay. So if you're interested in learning about soul growth, seeking your highest potential, spiritual, physical, emotional development, you've come to the right place. Welcome to my humble abode. I'm a Rainy Storm crew, aka a Rainy Storm. And if you are ready to transform with the storm, you've come to the right place. You've come to the right place, the right palace. I did get a new ring light, by the way. So I'm feeling a little saucy. So I ain't have to keep doing my laptop all crazy and whatnot and stuff. So I'm feeling good about that. Feeling really good. I hope everybody's feeling great. I got to make sure this green light stays on because if not, y'all ain't going to hear me. So I'm checking it periodically in a periodical time. But anyway, before we hop into this video, short announcements as always. All right. And we will get right into it after that. Also, too, before we do talk about announcements, we will not only be talking about the it is evolutionary of the Aries and Libra axis and what this means. We'll also talk briefly about what it meant through the past, and some of the things that we've experienced through the past. So right now, as we are going through, in Western astrology, through the world, we are currently in a North Node in Aries transit, which is what we're kind of gearing towards as a collective society. And the South Node is in Libra. So, and it's been there since July of last year. And I'll talk a little bit about that and what that also means as well, too. So, and then South Node in Libra is a little bit, or North Node in Libra is a little bit different. So, what we're collectively moving towards and what we are collectively kind of leaving, but also bringing a little bit more balance to when we're talking about like these North Node and South Node energies. Okay. So, quick announcements once again. We do have two things or a couple of things coming up. All the link is also too in description box too as I talk about this. But we have the moon sign or nodal lunar node series, where we're going to be talking about our moon signs, and also not only our moon sign but our moon nodes and how that correlates with the chart, and basically talking about moving through like blockages of the past, past lives, past incarnations, and trying to basically get to a place where we're alchemizing or transmuting this energy, through understanding what it means to have these particular placements in your own personal chart. So we're going to go through the moon signs. We're going to go through the lunar nodes, talk about what this energy means and what it can also mean in your own personal chart, and how you can alchemize that energy as well too. So it'll be very intimate, very personal. Right now we are at 11 slots. Shout out to you know who you are, who bought the calls. David, if you are watching, thank you so much. Who's coming in? It's a 5-week course. Starts in July 14th to be exact. And it's on Sunday, every Sunday at 1 p.m. EST. Also, too, if you would like to take notes, you could definitely take notes. But I also have a cheat sheet that is available for the evolutionary astrology that talks a little bit and can give you the tools of what to look for in your own birth own personal birth chart with definitions in here as well too. And things like that. And this is the first edition. We'll have other editions as we continue and as we go, but this is the first edition. We also will have, or also if you look down in the link below, there are mini courses as well that talks about like, just like, for example, if you have Aries in the second house and Libra in the eighth house. So what does that mean for your own personal birth chart? And things like that. So you could see that also to being played out. And like I said, those courses, links, and like that stuff is below. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, let's get on with it. All right, shall we? So let's go and hop into this North Node in. Well, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about not just the nodal axis, but we'll be talking about. So we talked about moon nodes. So what does it mean, or lunar nodes, or north node and south node, which usually talks about the celestial point between the sun and the moon. That's how we get to this energy here with the north node and south node energy. But it reveals your purpose in this lifetime. And I know we can say, well, the purpose is just you being you, but within that purpose of you being you, we do have soul paths and soul trajectories that we're also on, and contractual agreements that we made with the universe before we came into these particular, or before we came into this incarnation. So this will help you understand that, knowing this energy in your chart, knowing the signs that it's in, knowing the houses that it's in, knowing what's aspected, or what I like to say aspects is like the lines that are having conversations with other planets and things. And it can help you along the way there too as well. Also too, so sun, where sun and moon intersects here, or the ecliptic or path of the sun, again representing the soul's evolutionary growth. So think of the north node again as where you're going, your path. It might feel a little uncomfortable when you're going on this path too. And think about the south node as like where you're coming from, your roots, the things that you're familiar with, the things that you've been through, the karmic lessons that you've learned in previous incarnations and previous lives here, um, in many other places as well. Well, unless you a firstborn star, then it might be a first time, might be a first rodeo if you're a firstborn star. But if you're not, mm, if you're not a firstborn star and this ain't your first rodeo, then you've been here a couple lifetimes. All right. So thinking about that as well too. And let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay. So first and foremost, when we talk about this current transit, okay, so this happened and started July 18th. Transit meaning when the nodes switched from North Node in Taurus last year, South Node in Scorpio, and then we go on to now North Node in Aries as of July 18th to the South Node in Libra. And it will be here till January 2025. Okay, is the time. Now, the last time that we had the North Node in Libra, I'm sorry, the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra transit, that was 1986 to 1987. So if you were 1986, 1987, baby, this energy is something that you probably possibly being experienced right now, or just coming into full, your actual return that you're having because it's come back in full in your personal chart. So yeah, this is what you can definitely see. You could see some uh, different things that were happening around this time. The 80s was a very interesting time in history. The music, the culture, the style, everything was kind of different in the 80s. I'll definitely say it was definitely a very like eccentric. I mean, I could say that for the 60s and I could say that to the 70s, but no, no, it was something very, very interesting. I don't know why I'm hearing LSD, but a very interesting time in history. All right. All right. But the earliest years that we first, or I would say on the time calendar, that we could see the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. And we won't get too deep into this history today. I just want to point out some things so you kind of know some of the themes that were going on during this time. If we are talking about evolutionary astrology, past and present, future, okay. specifically past, but also present, future. The year was August 7th, 1874 to February 4th, 1876 was the first time that we seen, or I guess you could say in the records, right, that we had this particular transit. Now I can go into a lot of things here, but like I said, I'll save it for another conversation. All right, but colonization was very real at this point in time, and Aries is the war god, and we'll get into that. Okay. Hold on, did I put it in here? Yes. Oh, I didn't even talk about, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't even go into Aries. So let's talk about the energy real quick before we get into this. We'll talk about the energy of Aries. We'll talk about the energy of Libra because I have this on the other side. But let's talk about these energies first, and then we'll jump into the years. So Aries energy and the North Node energy, I should say, and Aries energy in the South Node, and then we'll jump into like the time periods and stuff like that. So yeah, I ain't gotta wait. So Aries energy specifically is the first sign of the zodiac. Okay, it's the ram. As far as like the uh, symbol or the archetype, you should say, or I could say, is ruled over Mars. Or it's ruled by Mars. I'm sorry. Mars is the war god. It's the planetary war god of the zodiacs. Okay, it rules over Aries and it also rules over Scorpio. Okay, this is where we see this planetary energy of like action and drive and weapon making, okay, and wars. Okay, if I didn't say that before, for the war god, all right. This is also, the energy when you're angry, when you're mad and you're charged up, and this is the energy that comes out of you. So you can look to your Mars sign to see how you react when you're upset or when you're angry. Okay. And like I said, it's the energy and vitality that you use to get things done. It also rules like your sexual energy. Okay. It rules your creative energy, their means for creation. When you're fueling Mars in the highest ways, I think it definitely gives sacral chakra to me. And it's the fuels of creation. With Aries, this is where we talk about like childlike energy, spontaneity, kind of doing things solo dolo, because Aries is a very solo, even though it can be around people, it's a very soloist, sign. I also like to think of Aries as this energy of when the child, because it rules the head, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Make sure y'all come through for the Evolutionary Astrology on this Friday. We're going to be talking all about Aries, but it rules the head, it rules the eyes, and it rules the brain. Okay, all the areas in the face here. And so when the baby first comes out of the wound, this is Aries. Okay, this is the Aryan energy that we have here. We also have high tempers, will throw hands, and y'all know, yeah. Okay, will throw hands and is very athletic or into sports. Okay, so this is also a fire sign and it's cardinal energy. Okay, I like to think of a cardinal bird if we're talking about cardinal energy. Cardinals is like they're this way, they're that way, they go this way, they kind of move, they kind of move side to side and kind of go this way, kind of go that way. It's not really like a forward movement. Granted, Aries energy can go. It can go in a direction. It has a lot of fire. It has a lot of passion. It has a lot of drive. It has the thumping libido, whatever you want to call it. But it might not necessarily finish what it started, but it started. All right, it started. It started what it needed to. It came what it needed. It seen what it needed to see with this Aries energy. Now, if we're talking about Libra energy, the Libra is the opposite of Aries. Okay, so where we have solo dolo kind of energy, Libra is a little bit more collaborative when it comes to, especially like social engagements, engagements with other people. Libra is more so like, well, what do y'all think? Well, what would y'all like to do? Well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? Whereas Aries can be a little bit more solo and be like, well, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. Da 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 da. Libra is more like, well, let me kind of check in with everybody else before I make a decision. It can sometimes be leaning on like the people pleasing codependency, whereas Aries is kind of don't give a damn at all. Never did. It's like I'm gonna shit first and ask questions later. You know what I'm saying? And Libra energy is more so like I just kind of want to check in. Like I think of Libra energy as like those couples, and Libra, do not come for me in the comments, boo, because it ain't gonna go too far, okay? But you can definitely see this Libra energy is like, well, we think that we went to get like the couples like check in with their partners a lot, and they're like, well, we were supposed to go to but we decided that we weren't gonna go. And it's like, yeah, but like are y'all like merging? That's just crazy. Now, granted, Libra is not just all about marriage. It's not just all about partnerships. Libra is talking about that money. And when I think of money, shmoney, I think about Cardi B because she's also a Libra. Okay. With a lot of Scorpio placements and Aries placements as well, too. But shmoney, all we don't need is money. Money. Venus rules money. Libra is ruled over Venus, Venusian energy. It talks about beauty and money and the material things, even though it's uh, cardinal air. So air meaning the mind, air ruling over the mind energy. Writing, all forms of like communication. This is where you could see the poets. This is where you could see, the also too, like mediation can be very big for Libra energy, like mediating between two people. Like Libra is very good for like conflict resolution. Libra is very good for activism as well too, like fighting for the rights of people. It also is where you can see law, like actual law, contractual agreements, and not just business contractual agreements. Let me put this off to the shoulder. I'm feeling Libra right now. Business contractual agreements, you can also see this as like I said, the law, or making the law. You can even see like karmic. I mean, we can get into Scorpio here too, but you can also see like karmic contractual agreements here with Libra energy. And it's the scales, so now, not to say the scale is always equal, all right, but Libra is about finding that equilibrium with balance. So when we look across from Aries, we can look to Libra and see how we can find balance between being solo and maybe, leaning on a collective or leaning on a partnership. And it doesn't necessarily have to be marriage. It can just be, an intimate partner because, Libra, it's the seventh house. We talk about the intimacy and being connected in these ways. What else do I have on here? Also, too, romance, romantic, intimate relationships. Yeah, law, legal, and activism is where we have the Libra energy here. Usually, too, also too, Libra has a lot to do with sexuality, as well. It has a lot to do for women's rights as well. Or just finding the balance, the equilibrium, because it's the Venusian energy, so divine feminine energy. So it's very big on that. And also when it comes to the LGBT community as well, you know what I'm saying? You could also see that here. We'll talk about the Pluto Libra generation in another video because we talk about that time as well in history and what was going on in that time period and things, which is why I said what I said. All right. Now, when it comes to the Aries North Node and South Node, what we will see, and then we'll go through to the we'll go to the Aries Libra North Node and South Node and what that means, and then we will go through the time period so we can get into that. Now when we have Aries in the South Node, which means the energy that we are kind of moving from, or it's our roots, but we're kind of moving from or trying to find balance in. It's like maybe where we feel a little bit more comfortable here. And this North Node is in Libra. This is, I feel like, really learning how to collaborate or to be in collaboration with others when the North Node is in Libra. learning how to find balance between you and others, and not necessarily just leaning on yourself to, which is Aries, South Node in Aries, leaning on yourself to do things or to get things done, right? Libra is like, let me see how I can collaborate in order to help and make this work. You know what I mean? It could definitely have to do with partnerships or being a part of intimate connections. Like I said, it could be a marriage, or it could just be people that you're intimately connected to, whether that's family, um, friends that you're intimately connected to, all these things that you could see with this here. You can also see like embracing partnerships again, and enjoying Venusian things as well. Aries can be a little brash when it comes to things and objects and stuff like that. So this Libra energy here will kind of be uh I guess a segue, or having this balance between, you know, being okay with like the finer things. Like Aries, I really feel like, even though it's not super Gemini, it kind of is a little Gemini, where it's a little Gemini a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But Aries can be a little brash, like it's like, okay, I have these things, I might run through these things, but Libra's like, okay, I want the finer things. Aries is like, granted, I'm thinking of Mariah Carey right now, so I'm like, is it really, it could be fancy for sure, but it's a little bit more like, give me the burger and fries. I don't care what it looks like as long as it tastes good, that kind of energy. But the Libra energy is like, I want to go do some fine dining, some fine wine. I want the place to be aesthetically pleasing, for example, versus Aries is like, I really don't care what it looks like. Now, granted, like I said, Aries can be also very fancy as well. All right. It can be a fancy thing going on here with Aries. But Venusian or Libra energy is interested in having the finer things. Also, too, no, I ain't gonna talk about the money. Can't talk too much about the money access right here, because they both are very can be financially driven as well. Aries is more focused if we're talking about the finances, or just talking about wealth. Aries is more like quick, just trying to find like quickly. Also, too, what it can do and what it can get. It's very entrepreneurial again, so it's like I can just kind of go at it alone. I make my own rules. I set my own, my own way, and how this is gonna go and how that's gonna go. Whereas Libra is like, can we do a collaboration together? Like, let's collaborate on this and create something together. Um, Also, too, Libra is like I said, the poet and the artist. So very creative. Aries, like I said, it definitely has that passion and that fire and that drive. But Libra can be, not all Libras are created equal. Okay. But Libra can be a little bit more, I would say Libra takes its time more for the most part. Like, versus Aries is like, because it's Mars energy is like charging through stuff, versus Libra is like, I'm going to take my time with the stroke of the brush and the stroke of the pen, and maybe eat my food slow. Aries is just like chomping it down. You know what I'm saying? That kind of energy. Writing, speaking, designs, where you see like um, creative designers or interior designers, or hosting the parties and the guests. Aries is like, I'm just trying to show up for the party. I ain't trying to do all that. Aries and Libra is like, I'm the host of the party. So North Node in Libra, you can see somebody who becomes like a host of the dinner party or the Bridgerton party. You know what I'm saying? Um, you can also is learning to, whereas Aries in the South Node, this past life energy is wanting to find more energy, like kind of going at things alone and stuff. Libra is here to teach you how to find balance in your relationships and your partnerships and things like that. So maybe with the South Node in Aries, you're just so used to going at things alone. You're used to relying on yourself to get help and support, and now you're having to learn how to like rely on other people to help you or take care of you, or You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Libra can't take care of themselves. I'm just saying like they can lean on, or they're learning how to lean on with this North Node energy into like having help and, being able to have that take care energy here too. Now, when we do talk about the Aries North Node energy here and the Libra South Node energy, like we're kind of experiencing now, you know, Aries is going the solo way. Aries is having to kind of find things out on its own with this energy in the North Node, and Libra in the South Node. It's releasing codependency as well too. So like I said, if you were really reliant on partnerships or relationships, just anything that has to do even with like, especially just being, doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships, but even being like codependent in like your intimate relationships and things like that. This is how, for example, I'll use this as an example. So let's say that anytime you make a decision, or most times when you make a decision, you're always going to your friend and you are checking in with people about your next step and the things that you should do. You're like, I don't know, you think I should do this, or you think I should do that, or whatever. That's releasing that. It's like, okay, well, what do I want to do? What are some of the things I want? Because a lot of times what can happen is, I'm sorry, y'all, I got that old school clip pen. Uh, this is very Libra, by the way. Just saying. It's my granny's. She's a Leo. But, you know, what was I saying? Uh, if you're relying on your friends to give you confirmation about something, or validation on something, on what you think you should do or how you think you should play things, this is where you're releasing that. You're like, no, I have to kind of trust in my own guidance, in my own self, really figure out what I want, what I need, how I want to go about things without relying on anybody to like give me the extra validation to do something. You know what I'm saying? And that's just an example. It doesn't have to be that way, but it's just a minor example of like how these things can really play out for you. You can also see here healing the inner child as well, because the Aries energy is the first sign of the zodiac. So, and Aries is very childlike. It's very has this energy where it wants to like play and, be childlike. So it's leaning back into this energy where, you just kind of feeling a little bit, just kind of exploring and seeing where things go. And sometimes not having all the steps and all the plans, because lo and behold, you know, Libra can be very like the plans, like how are we going to make this happen, how am I going to make this work, I need to know how I'm going to Libra can be like that. Aries really doesn't have a plan. It's not necessarily Sagittarius on blind faith, but then at the same time it will pick up and go like a Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying, with no plan and no nothing at all. It's just like I wanted to do it, so I did, you know. It does have that kind of go-getter kind of energy here when we talk about this Aries energy for sure. um, you also say, I said, making decisions for yourself, things like that. But now, before we go, I want to talk a little bit about through the years and through the signs. Once again, I'm gonna make that little drop. Definitely check out the course coming up July 14th, and that link is in the description. Oh, we also do astrocartography until July 11th. There are astrocartography or locational astrology readings if you're interested in finding out the best places to live, work, and travel in your own personal birth chart. Um, you could also, they're on a donation base at this point in time while Venus is in Cancer. Feeling a little generous, okay, until July 11th. So you also want to make sure you check that out. And also the cheat sheet that has all the information about what we're talking about now. Well, cheat sheet, yeah. Well, there's a cheat sheet a little bit differently. There is a cheat sheet for the astrocartography, also root work, and also evolutionary astrology. That link is below, and it will link you also to the rest of that. But if you're interested, this is learning how to read the chart, like what things to look out for in the chart. Um, so if you're looking for like what karmic things in evolutionary astrology that can help you with your soul's growth and development, this cheat sheet is for that. But I also have courses now available too. short mini courses, many informationals, if you will, about the North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra, and the North Node in Libra and South Node in Aries, and what that means according to basically through the houses. So you could check that out with the link below as well. Um, what else do we have here? Oh, so getting into the time periods here, we have Aries. So I talked about August 7th, 1874 through February 4th, 1876 was the earliest time that we've seen this energy be charted, or at least the furthest I could find. It's probably something out there further. I got to just dig a little bit more. But the North Node at the time was in Aries and the South Node was in Libra. And here's a list of the things that were happening in history during this time. A couple of things that I wrote. Okay. So we had indigenous Black Hills, is what it's called. And it was a massacre for an expedition. There was I'm not gonna go too deep into it. All right. If you want to look this information up, I did find this information on Wikipedia, and what I typed in, all you have to do is type in what was happening in 1874, what was happening in 1875, what was happening in 18, and it'll get to give you a list of all these different things in history that was happening. So take it with a grain of salt, but I wanted to like quickly look through some of these things and match it with some of the themes that were occurring. So if we're going back to the North Node in Aries energy here, when we're talking about war and even to a degree anger and violence in these ways, or even we can look at Aries as this energy of like charting a new path, you know, getting to a new land or going on these expeditions to explore new places and new lands. Definitely Aries energy. uh you'll see this, and this is when, before this it was happening, but this is like where these expeditions or colonization was happening throughout history. It's interesting what we're seeing now, isn't it? Is it not? Okay, because the North Node is in Aries right now and the South Node is in Libra, so listen, please pay attention. All right. Okay, anyway, the Indigenous Black Hills Massacre expedition, they was mining for gold, and of course ended up kicking people out, burning their history, memory, and people. At the same time, we had the Chicago fires of 1874, and there were multiple Chicago fires throughout history. Okay, do you think these things were natural? No, they were not natural. They weren't natural fires that just happened. They were burning these places down because, I'll give you a second. You guessed it. They were colonizing these places. Okay. You can get into that. We're going to talk about some of this stuff later. All right. So this happened on July 14th. All right. 1874. Then we have the uh, Quebra, Queba, Que, I'm sorry. I think it's called Quebra Quilos Revolt. And this was happening in Brazil, October 31st. This was 1874, yes. Anti-government revolts were happening in Brazil at this time, and other places in the world as well that were happening, revolting around the world, around the US, around the world, internationally. Where you went, where you go, revolts happening. People standing up against the system because they were what? Tired. They were tired. Sounds familiar? Okay. Okay. I'll let you sit on. Anyway, next. Next, Egypt adopts the Gregorian calendar. Crazy you say that. It was previously the Alexandrian calendar, and that was in 1875, September 11th. All right. Is time even real? That's crazy. Interesting. We will be talking about the Gregorian calendar as well here, and as it relates to evolutionary astrology, okay, and Saturn, because Saturn rules time. So we're gonna talk a little bit about this on this channel as well. Um, That was 1875, September 11th. Now, when we had the North Node in Libra and the South Node in Aries, so we're gearing towards the North Node in Libra, South Node in Aries, release future forward versus past things right here, right? There was a lot of electricity. And mind you, Libra rules the mind, it rules air. Aquarius is usually connected to electricity, but Libra also is connected to electricity. And why? Because if we're talking about interior designing, if we're talking about, uh, you know, a light, let's say this, a light, just like this ring light right here. I don't know if y'all seen my videos in the past, but a light can literally change the entire photo of a place or the entire video of a place when you have a light, connected to when you have a light basically connected to, like, if I were to turn this off right now, it's very Libra. It's very Libra. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? But Libra, the lights. Please, somebody give me a ring light, says Libra. So lights were very big. So there was the first lighting system with overhead wires. That was January 19th, 1883. We had the International Colonial Export Expedition in Amsterdam, October 1st. So this was a bunch of colonizers coming together and talking about their international expeditions that they were doing all around the world, and their imports and exports, and not only of spices, of goods. These were people that were enslaved as well. Okay, that was happening in this time. Is it starting to sound familiar or not? No, not yet. Okay, just there. Now, granted, this is the North Node in Libra, right? It's different time period here, but I'm just saying. Oh, I didn't even say the year. That was December 28th. December, North Node in Libra, South Node in Aries was December 28th, 1883 to June 24th, 1885. So I'm talking about the first time that we've seen it charted in history that I could find anyway on the internet. Okay. And if y'all have any more information to give, please leave a comment down below. And also be sure to like, share, and subscribe so this video can get to the people that it needs to get to. All right. And I love when y'all leave comments too, And also the subscription for the Substack to get updates, freebies, all that kind of stuff is on the link down below as well. It's a newsletter. So subscribe to that and you'll be able to get updates sent straight to your email. I try to limit it to like 1 to 3 per week. So not too much spammy, but you can also see that as well too, so you know when it's going down. All right. So back to it. There was a what did I say? Oh, the 8-hour everyday. What was that? Okay, so this is. I'm sorry, because I wrote it in pencil, so it's going crazy over here right now. But this is when the 8-hour shifts was introduced to the world as well. Before there was no that we know of in history, but the 8-hour shifts were introduced during this time in history. So you work 8 hours a day. Okay, that's when in this time was presented here. Let's see. Trades and labor unions. I don't remember what I put here. I have to go back to what that was. Now, when I guess the last time we had, I think, yeah. So the last time, I went like way back into the 1800s. Now I'm going to briefly just talk about like the last time we've had these transits happen with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra, and the North Node in Libra and the South Node in Aries. So the last time we were in this energy. So from December 27th, 2004 to June 2006. For me personally, and that's what with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. For me personally, that's when I was going from middle school to high school. So, yeah, that was an interesting time to be alive. All right, very interesting time to be alive. Goddamn. So Some of the things that were happening at the time, Gaza was under attack during this time. Gaza was under attack during this time. And they were going after some of the leaders, Hamas leaders at this time. Yeah, this has been a drawn out thing going on with uh, them folks in Gaza. Um, it's been years, it's been decades that this has been going on. It actually tracks back. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but it actually tracks back even further than this. And I'm like, I mean, I know that Gaza means the Holy Land, but I'm like, what is the beef? Like, what is going on this ley line, which is like a power or energy line? What is going on in this line that like? But then again, we could think about it around the world. But that's another conversation for another time. Because I could go all day. Then in the Mojave Desert in California, we had the Space One plane takes flight for the first time that we know of, because we still don't know a damn thing about space besides what NASA tells us, and we don't know a damn thing about underwater seas except for what they told us about the underwater. So much we still do not know. All right, so that's when the first spaceship, or Space One is what it was called, took flight. And then we also had YouTube launch for the first time, February 14th, 2005. Like I said, this is the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. I want to say this and make a prediction. I would not be surprised. Maybe before this transit is over, I don't know. But I do feel like, especially with Jupiter and Gemini right now, and that rules like media, Jupiter's expansion, it expands anything it touches, for the basic meaning. And then Gemini is the energy of the media and communication. Sorry, let me move this up because I'm lounging now. Media and communication. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a new internet, or a new platform, or another platform that arise. And I really think so also too, because Aries is like in a solo way, kind of goes its own way. I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody that came up with some type of like invention, right? Or some type, because Aries sextiles, which when we say sextile, I would say we can think about it in a couple ways, but they partner up together. So eventually Pluto is going to be, making some connections. Pluto in Aquarius is going to be making some connections to Aries energy. And I feel like we're going to be seeing these newer energies come about, especially when Saturn goes into Aries. I think that's next year. Oh shit, yeah, Saturn is going to Aries. We'll talk about that, what that means as well too. God damn, that's gonna be a time. It's already a time, but that's gonna be a time. So we're talking about that energy. And then last but not least, we have the North Node in Libra and the South Node in Aries, February 19th, 2014, and November 11th, 2015. At this time, personally, I was just finishing college at this time. I was supposed to graduate in 2014, but I ended up staying an extra year in college, switched my major like 5 times. But, that's the last time we had like the North Node here and the South Node here. Push it down a little bit. All right, so we can see this energy here. I think that's about it. I think that's all we have. I don't want to keep this too long. Damn, I didn't even realize I was 45 minutes in. That's crazy. I was like, I'm gonna try to keep it short. I'm gonna try to get this short, but I'll be talking, bro. I'll be talking. Anyway, once again, to wrap it up, like I said, we do have that cheat sheet available on the website, with the link down below, where you can get the information, or really just what to look for in the chart, from Pluto to Saturn to like I said, the nodals. I think, I put Chiron in there as well too. Ways that you can read the chart and things like that. We do have that course available to help you move through those past life blockages, and alchemize, and transform these past life incarnations and things like that you could been through, so you can really step and align into your path. Again, it's 11 spots left. It was 12, but now it's only 11. So make sure you check that out starting January 14th. I might end up changing the times because, like I said, y'all voted on different times. So it's on Sunday. So I might be changing it to Thursday at another time. But we gonna see how everything kind of plays out and go from there. And then again, if you would like a mini video, if the cheat sheet's not your thing, and you ain't trying to read all that, and you would like a mini video that specifically talks about how, if you don't have this placement, that's okay because it's still transiting somewhere through your chart. The North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. Or if you just want to learn astrology as well too, you ain't gotta. If you just want to learn from the kid, you know what I'm saying, you could also do that as well too. But you can also see it's happening and how it's transiting in your personal chart as well. And they're short videos. They're not like any long drawn out videos and things like that. But it's just, a little knowledge to keep and a little knowledge to have for yourself. So it can really help you get the best of both energies here. Because like I said, even though Aries is, or the North Node is in Aries right now and the South Node is in Libra, we still trying to find, or vice versa, we still trying to find a balance with these energies and how they can help you, in the future and moving forward and things like that. So you already know what it is. I already know what it is. It's your rainy storm. Checking in, checking out. Oh, did I not talk about the journals? It might be the journal prompts. I'm still working on them, but you might be able to see this when this drops. But there's also journal prompts available as well too, like journal workbooks that you can write if you like to write as well. I'm still working on them, so I don't know if they're going to be available yet. But if they're not dropped, if they haven't dropped today and you don't see them in the description box, journals with prompts about these energies and how they play out through the houses in your chart. So these different sections of your birth chart, that also might be available too. But if not, it might be available like next week, or I'm sorry, sometime this week. So definitely check it out and look for it to come. And I'll again subscribe to the Substack so you see when it drops as well too. So you already know what it is. It's a rainy storm, checking in, checking out. Without a doubt. 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 Deuces.